2013, Pokemon did their first full-blown attempt at a 3D mainline Pokemon game, Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. Initial reactions to the game were very positive, but as time went on, people realized that there was very little going for the Kalos region games in terms of content for Pokemon and the way the Pokemon themselves were presented. Now, 12 years later, Game Freak finally revisited the Kalos region and gave it a more modern polish, but the question remains, is the game worth playing? I'm 4starmon, and this is my review on Pokemon Legends ZA. So I took a couple weeks to make this review because I really wanted to marinate with the game. I had a lot of hopes for this game, and while most of them were met, there were still some things that could have used more polish and refinement. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's start with the core gameplay. Pokemon's battle system has stayed the same for over 20 years until Legends Arceus, which was still focused on turn-based combat. One of the biggest draws into the franchise for me when I was younger was the anime, and this game does a relatively good job at making it feel like that. Combat has a decent pace and it's relatively easy to understand after the initial tutorial. The catching mechanic from Legends Arceus also comes back, which I was praying would be the case before we saw any gameplay pre-release. And honestly, for a game set in just a city, it's a really fun time. It honestly feels exactly what I thought it would feel like when we first saw the first couple of trailers early on, finding Pokemon and training during the day, then battling during the night. Very open and shut gameplay loop. But for the base gameplay, it's the most interesting Pokemon has ever been since Legends Arceus, and even then, there were hardly any trainer battles or other forms of challenging content in Arceus, unlike ZA. The Mega Evolution mechanic returning was very welcoming, and with the plethora of new Mega Evolutions that were brought into the game, it was very hard to have a team without a Pokemon that could Mega Evolve. And not to mention the music in this game is extremely good. Like, no duh, it is a Pokemon game. If there is one thing to count on, it's that the music is gonna bang. Now that we got the basic gameplay stuff out of the way, I want to talk about the best part of the game as a whole, and that's the story. Without getting into too many spoilers, I just want to say this is probably the most engaged I felt in a Pokemon game story since Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Everyone in this game felt so full and rich, and I love every single person that they introduced into this game. This is easily the funniest Pokemon game to date as well. The Corbeau arc was some of the funniest writing I've seen in a Pokemon game ever, and it's not close at all. Not only are the characters written well, but they're also just designed well, which makes a lot of sense because Kalos is based on Paris, which is considered to have the most high-class fashion in the world. My favorite is Naveen out of, all of the Team MZ and also just in general. For obvious reasons, even if he is a tier 3 sub to Canary. He's the best character in this entire game, like deadass. Now, before I continue to glaze this game, I'm just gonna put some pet peeves that I have before we continue. Of course, there is plenty of Game Freak-isms littered in the game. For example, the customization is great and probably the best that we ever had. But, for people like me that have black hairstyles, we're extremely limited. It probably wouldn't hurt them to add in maybe afro or even some cornrows. Just give us 5 options. That's it. Genuinely, there should be a little bit more, especially when the last game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, had such a robust amount of customization options for the hair alone. Well, I mean, they didn't really have a lot of other stuff to really work on, but it would have been cool to have just a little bit more. But I still like what they did with the majority of the customization, with the two-tone hairstyles and how you could have it either fade in or just be parted in general. It was just really good. There was also multiple times where I could just give my Pokemon an order and it just won't. No BS, I could tell my Pokemon to break a Mega Cluster and it'll run 60 meters just to try and do it. And then it won't do it at all. Which, I'm not gonna lie, this level of scuff is funny to me, since in the grand scheme of things, it just looked like your Pokemon wanted to do it for you, but just physically couldn't bring itself to actually do it. Other than that, there's some technical issues that are probably there due to the fact that Game Freak is still struggling with trying to find a way to make Pokemon battles work in an open world setting. For example, I play in the ranked mode a lot, and every time I aim an attack at someone that tracks to them and they run behind a lamppost, they're completely protected from said attack because Lumio City apparently uses the same material that they use to create the Tournament of Power Stadium in their day-to-day infrastructure. Now, I'm not expecting to have destroyable environments just yet. I get this is a Switch game that we're talking about, right? But it still feels like some of my enjoyment is dropped just a little bit when stuff like a fucking Hyper Beam can get stopped by a regular tree. And honestly, since we're on the topic of ranked, let's just talk about the multiplayer aspect of the game as a whole. I understand that this game is meant to be seen as a single player experience first, but I do enjoy the fact that they made a battle royale mode in the game when they honestly didn't need to. Though the fact that they did do it without really thinking about competitive players is a real disappointment. So let me just explain. When you start playing ranked, you have the goal of going from rank Z to rank A, which, I mean, Obviously, this is the name of the game, right? But once you get to the A rank, they don't give you any elo or any type of leaderboard for you to see how good you are in comparison to other players, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if the rewards were actually worth getting. Most matches, whether I win or lose, I get a single mega shard. And for anyone that has not played this game yet, you have to understand that you could literally take a piss in the back of an alleyway and get 15 mega shards in 2 seconds. And the amount of mega shards it costs to get those EXP candies is ridiculous, especially when you realize that you're getting 1 per ranked battle most of the time. Now, it's not the only prize that you might get. Sometimes you could get a rare candy, which you could also find on the ground randomly. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, the rewards are just not good. It's either that or you get pretty feathers. And I don't care about feathers. Like, I know that they do boost your stats, but you literally need 252 feathers for that to actually even matter at all. The game, in my opinion, is fun enough to, like, you know, warrant playing online. It just depends on if you really enjoy using certain Pokemon and wanting to, you know, play against people that are actually, like, you know, real players. Like, it does give you a sense of competition and competitive drive and aspect, but you don't get anything besides what they have already set up. And we probably won't get anything more in depth with the ranked system until, like, the DLC ends up coming out, if they even touch it at all. Now, I will say that I'm addressing this before season 2 drops, and I know that the season 2 patch notes did come out, and they said that they're going to adjust the rewards and stuff, which is a step in the right direction, right? But we won't know whether they're actually worth, you know, the upgrade until the update comes out, which is probably coming out in, like, what, I think 2 days. So we'll see when the 5th rolls around. But if they don't give me a minimum of 200 shards per win and some Poké dollars to help me grind for some Pokemon and, you know, do more battling and all that goodness, then they might as well not change anything at all. Now, overall, Pokemon has been in a rough spot for ages trying to figure out how to keep its long-term fans more engaged in the franchise, but it seems like they understand now that in order to do that, they just need to not be afraid to do something different and surprise us with something that we've never had in a Pokemon game before. I've had a lot of non-Pokemon friends ask if the game was good because they heard that someone online said it was trash. And my response was that if you love Pokemon, then you will enjoy it immensely. And that's it. Like, honestly, the game has heart, it has soul, there's plenty to do, even with the game freakisms all over it. The love and passion for Pokemon is there, and it's obvious that the team that developed it loved X and Y. And in a way, this game was a love letter to those games, since so many things were cut from them during development. They found a way to fit Kalos into a big city that took one of my least favorite Pokemon regions and made it into one of my favorites. All in all, Pokemon Legends ZA is fun, and that's all I need it to be. And if I had to give it a score, I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. But mainly because the online is some dog shit. But if they found a way to smooth it out, you could get, you know, a 0.5 increase, and maybe in the DLC, if they add even more, like, good things, you know, that just make the game even better, then shit, this could even be a 4.5. It's never going to be a 5, though. But with that being said, if you made it to the end of this review and you're thinking of picking up Pokemon Legends ZA, consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like, all that stuff, comment down below, because we are making more and more Pokemon content. Like, I've always really wanted to do from the beginning, but I've just kind of been, you know, exploring throughout, you know, what other types of content that I would want to make in the future. So yeah, but if you want to, you know, see more Pokemon Legends ZA content, I do shiny hunts on streams every Tuesday. I have my competitive ranked battles uploaded in a little playlist. I'll have it down there, down below. Y'all could go ahead and see all that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sorry if y'all were looking for a playthrough. My stream was way too long and I didn't realize it until it was too late. And I can't get that playthrough back. But hopefully for the DLC, I'll have something in mind for y'all. But yeah, that's going to be it. Like I said, if you guys enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.